It is the beginning of the Tournament of Power. The positions of the Pride Troopers had already been carefully established beforehand by the General and Chief Strategist Casserole. Since the abilities and overall strength of the other universes remain largely unknown, he could only predict the most likely opening moves of the surrounding teams, particularly Universe 2 and Universe 3, positioned directly beside Universe 11. With Universe 11 possessing the highest mortal level among all competing universes, it was no coincidence that they had been placed between two of the next highest level universes. The most logical expectation was that they would immediately become a target. With that possibility in mind, Casserole prepared for the worst case scenario, an attack from both Universe 2 and Universe 3 simultaneously. He understood that, in a tournament of this scale, teamwork and coordination will be essential for survival when facing superior numbers. To maximize efficiency, the Pride Troopers had been divided into 4 separate squads. Each squad had been balanced according to the strengths of its members. The weaker Pride Troopers would fight together, while the strongest operated with greater independence. By assigning every member a clear role within an organized battle formation, the team will be far better equipped to adapt to chaotic situations and reinforce one another whenever necessary. The moment the Grand Priest signaled the start of the tournament, Topo immediately addresses his team. "At your positions, Pride Troopers. Today, we will save our universe and show all the gods the pride of Universe 11. With a loud affirmation, the response came in perfect unison from every Pride Trooper except Jiren. Although ready for combat, the Pride Troopers did not rush forward. Instead, they carefully observed Universes 2 and 3 on either side of them. Their first move will come only after ensuring they will not become trapped between two enemy forces. Ideally, Universe 2 and Universe 3 would first be occupied by their neighboring teams. Unfortunately, Casserole's worst prediction became reality. Universe 4 remained isolated and made no immediate move against anyone, while Universe 10 launched an attack against Universe 6 almost instantly. As a result, Universe 2 had complete freedom to advance against the Pride Troopers without fear of being attacked from behind. Universe 3 found itself in a similar, though slightly less favorable situation. Before long, both teams began moving toward Universe 11. "They are coming after all," Dispo remarked cautiously. "It was inevitable," Casserole replied. "The strongest team will always become the first target. We cannot allow ourselves to be surrounded. Split into 2 groups as planned," Topo ordered. "Casserole, Kunchi, your squads will hold one side and buy us time until we eliminate the other team." Then he turned toward the strongest warrior among them. "Jiren, which team should we confront first?" Jiren had already made his decision. "I will fight them." He was referring to Universe 3. Without another word, the Grey Warrior immediately surged forward on his own. "Very well," Topo nodded before addressing the rest of his team. "Right, troopers, today we will make our gods and our people proud. Let us bring victory to our universe." With that, Topo and Dispo followed after Jiren. "You heard your leader," Casserole called out to his allies. "We hold the line against Universe 2, fight defensively, and avoid unnecessary risk until reinforcements arrive. Move out!" As Casserole prepared to meet the approaching Universe 2 warriors, Jiren rapidly closed the distance toward Universe 3. At the head of Universe 3 advance stood their leader Nigrishi, alongside 4 teammates. The remainder of their squad stayed behind, seemingly ensuring that Universe 4 could not strike them from the rear. so only half their team is advancing, Ispo commented. They are concerned about leaving themselves exposed to Universe 4, Topo realized. That's why Jiren chose them first. He looked ahead at the approaching opponents. This is our best opportunity. If we defeat them quickly, we can regroup with the others. Don't have to tell me twice, Ispo grinned. Speed is my specialty. As Dispo prepared to accelerate, Jiren suddenly came to a stop. With nothing more than a brief glance, he signaled for Topo and Dispo to remain behind him. Both obeyed. Then Jiren made the first move of the battle. For an instant, the Grey Warrior's eye glowed a deep red. His ki erupted outward in a perfectly controlled burst before being condensed entirely into his right hand. Then he fired. Nigirishi and his teammates barely reacted in time, scattering to avoid the incoming wave of energy. But Jiren was not finished. With a subtle motion of his hand, he manipulated the attack from a distance. The single blast divided into 5 separate streams of energy, each one pursuing a different target with frightening precision. Only Nigirishi reacted quickly enough, immediately generating energy barriers around both himself and his allies. He managed to lessen the impact. Even so, the resulting explosions hurled the entire group across the arena. During the attack, Jiren had already identified the strongest among them. The moment the dust settled, he moved. Nigirishi was the first to rise. Nearby stood Rico and Magikayo, recovering from the blast. As he regained his bearings, Nigirishi suddenly realized that Jiren was already standing directly in front of him. The Pride Trooper wasn't attacking. He wasn't speaking. He simply stood there, calmly waiting. Nigirishi attempted to read the expression on Jiren's face, searching for some indication of his intention. He found nothing. No anger, no excitement, no arrogance, only complete calm. Even as a cyborg, Nigirishi found his expression unsettling. Incredible speed and flawless ki control, he analyzed it internally. Then another thought crossed his mind. Would this be the warrior from the rumors? Jiren remained motionless, silently observing his opponents. He never stops amazing me with his speed, Dispo admitted. Topo watched carefully. One attack was enough to divide them. His attention shifted toward the remaining 2 Universe 3 fighters. Since Jiren is handling those 3, we'll take care of the others. The 2 opponents, Catopesla and Viara, were only now beginning to recover from the earlier assault. Together, Dispo and Topo rushed forward to engage them. Meanwhile, the rest of the Pride Troopers found themselves facing nearly the entire Universe 2 team. Only 2 of their members remained behind, observing from a distance. Casserole could not determine the reason for this decision. Universe 2 faced no immediate threat from another team, making such caution seem unnecessary. Whatever the reasoning, however, one fact remained clear. Facing 8 opponents was far preferable to facing 10. Defensive formation now, Casserole shoot as he instructed his squad. Nearby, Kunshi immediately did the same with his own squad. Buon took the front line position, ready to defend his teammates from any incoming assault. Casserole remained at the center of the formation, preparing the opening barrage, while Cocotte stayed at the rear, quietly focusing on her magic. The Elemental Squad adopted a slightly different arrangement. Kunshi, Sawyer, and Tupper formed the front line, while Kettle remained behind them in a support role. As the enemy approached, Casserole's body began to transform. Portable missile launchers and laser cannons emerged from his mechanized shoulders, back, and arms. A moment later, The Pride Trooper General unleashed a relentless storm of missiles and energy projectiles. The warriors of Universe 2 managed to evade or block the attacks, but their advance was slowed considerably. That brief delay was all the Elemental Squad needed. Combining their abilities, they unleashed a massive elemental assault. Powerful gusts of wind merged with roaring flames and razor-sharp crystal projectiles, creating a devastating wave of destruction that surged toward Universe 2. Faced with two coordinated attacks at once, Universe 2 was forced to respond quickly. Once they were close enough, Jimmy's stepped forward, using his advanced instant transmission technique. The Yardrat instantly teleported both himself and Bicol directly above the Elemental Squad's position. Kettle was the first to notice them, warning his teammates. Reacting immediately, he unleashed a torrent of electrically charged water toward the incoming opponents. Jimmy's calmly responded by teleporting both himself and Bicol behind Kettle. Caught off guard by the sudden relocation, Kettle barely managed to avoid a potential lethal strike from Bicol's claws. The remaining Elemental Pride Troopers quickly moved to counterattack, but once again, Jimmy's used instant transmission, relocating himself and Bicol to the opposite side. Teleportation, and a highly advanced version of it, Kunshi observed. He immediately adjusts the formation. Hopper, protect the backline. Sawyer, with me. His squad shifted positions without hesitation, adapting to their opponent's unusual mobility. To further counter the threat, Kettle expanded a barrier of water around the entire squad. With the barrier active, any sudden teleportation near their position will immediately be detected. Already developing countermeasures against my instant transmission, Jimmy's remarked with genuine admiration. They are clearly experienced. This is far from over, Bicol replied. Let's engage them directly. The two Universe 2 fighters rushed forward. Stay alert, Kunshi warned his squad. Approaching head-on while outnumbered was suspicious. Their opponents were clearly planning something. The Elemental Squad moved together to meet them in close combat. Then, an energy projectile struck from behind. The water barrier detected it instantly, but the attack was moving too fast. The blast slammed directly into Topper's back, dealing significant damage. Kettle immediately turned to support his injured teammate. At the same time, Kunshi and Sawyer attempted to intercept Jimmy's and Bicol. But Jimmy suddenly stopped. With a simple gesture, he activated instant transmission. In an instant, Kunshi and Sawyer found themselves relocated behind Topper. The sudden displacement created exactly the opening Bicol needed. The vampire warrior immediately launched at Kettle. Despite the confusion, Kunshi and Sawyer reacted almost instantly and rushed back to defend their ally. Even so, Bicol managed to land a strike. Her claws pierced Kettle's neck, but as she prepared to follow up, the Pride Trooper's body reacted instinctively. A powerful surge of electricity erupted from his aquatic form. The unexpected counterattack struck Bicol directly, temporarily paralyzing her. Seeing his ally unable to move, Jimmy immediately teleported both of them away before the Pride Troopers could capitalize. The Elemental Squad quickly regrouped. Kettle, can you handle those injuries? Kunshi asked, referring to both Kettle and Topper. No need to worry, Kettle replied calmly. I can heal this much damage easily. Using his abilities, he began restoring both his wounds and Topper's. Universe 2 certainly has plenty of surprises, Sawyer commented. They do, Kanshi agreed. But they wasted their best opportunity. They caught us off guard and still failed to inflict serious damage. Even so, we still don't know who attacked me from behind, Topper pointed out. I can sense 2 additional presences nearby, Kettle added, but I can't determine their exact location. Perhaps some kind of concealment ability. Then let's make a mess and force them out, Sawyer suggested with a grin. No, Kunshi immediately replied. Remember our objective. We are here to buy time. Conserve your energy and fight carefully. For the remainder of the engagement, the Elemental Squad focused on maintaining control of the battlefield. Kunshi and Sawyer kept Jimmy's and Michael occupied in direct combat. Kettle continuously supported the team with healing, while Topper focused on defense, particularly against the long-range attacks of Harmira and the support provided by Prum. While the Elemental Squad fought their battle, Caceral's group was engaged in one of their own. After Jimmy's intervention disrupted the combined elemental attack, Rivrian and the other magical girls finally managed to push through Caceral's barrage of missiles and projectiles. As they closed in, Buon opened his mouth and unleashed a massive wave of energy in an attempt to force them back. This time, however, Universe 2 counterattacked. Alright girls, share with me your love, Rivrian shoot. The 3 magical warriors combined their power into a massive heart-shaped energy blast that collided directly with Buon's attack. The clash lasted for a while, but the magical gear's combined attack began overpowering Buon's energy wave. Recognizing the danger, Caceral joined the struggle, firing a powerful beam cannon into the clash. Together, they managed to slow the attack and weaken it considerably, but eventually, the heart-shaped blast broke through. Caceral prepared to intercept it himself. Before he could move, Buon stepped forward. The Pride Trooper took the entire attack head-on. The resulting explosion launched him backward across the arena, but Caceral managed to catch him before he crashed into the ground. "Comrade, are you alright?" the general asked. "Don't worry about me, General," Buon replied confidently. "The attack was weakened enough for me to withstand it. More importantly, my body has already begun adapting to their energy. They will regret using a combined attack against us." A small smile appeared on Caceral's face. "Excellent. Everything is proceeding according to plan." His attention shifted toward Cocotte. The only thing left is... A few moments later, she finally opened her eyes. "Sorry for the delay, General. I'm ready." The magical girls slowed their advance, stopping at a comfortable distance. "So, you are the famous Pride Troopers," Ivrian said. "Our goddess told us much about your heroic deeds and strength, but honestly, you already exceeded our expectations." "That is quite an honor," Caceral replied respectfully. "Forgive my ignorance, but I assume the 3 of you are heroes in your own universe as well?" Ivrian placed a hand on her chest dramatically. "It seems our own incredible accomplishments haven't reached the other universes yet. No matter, before this tournament ends, everyone will witness the explosive power of love of the kamikaze fireballs." She proudly introduced herself alongside Kakunsa and Rosie. "Not bad, kamikaze fireballs." Caceral nodded approvingly before turning toward his teammates. "Buon, Code, let's show them the proper Pride Trooper introduction." Suddenly, the battlefield became less of a battleground and more of a performance stage. The 3 Pride Troopers introduced themselves with even greater flair, complete with dramatic poses and explosions. Despite the unnecessary introduction, their primary objective was buying time after all. "Not bad at all," Ivrian admitted, visibly impressed. "I hate to say it, but they've clearly been doing this longer than us," Kakunsa added. Well, they are clearly much older, Rose commented. The remark visibly wounded the Pride Trooper's pride. Girls, focus! Ribrianne quickly interrupted before the conversation could continue any further. With confidence, she then pointed at her opponents. We concede the victory in presentation, Pride Troopers. But in battle, our love will prevail. Ribrianne, Kakunsa, and Rosie immediately prepared to fight once more. For a brief moment, the Pride Troopers hesitated. The will to battle faded ever so slightly as they found themselves facing what appeared to be a group of sincere and idealistic young heroes. But only for a moment. The veterans quickly pushed those feelings aside and refocused on their mission. Excellent, Casero replied enthusiastically. Show us the power of the kamikaze fireballs. And with that, the battle resumed.